All right, we're back, everybody. I'll do record another episode. Okay, hitting record in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Direct Sports Daily, your source for a fresh new take on all the latest headlines from the world of sports. And now, here's your host, George Bennett, featuring special guest, DSD lead correspondent, Robert Gluck.
Got me again. Twice in one day.
We just did a show.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. Today is April 14th, 2017. And we're back with our regularly scheduled episode of Direct Sports Daily. Rob's still here.
What's up, everybody?
And we're going to be talking about everything outside of the NBA playoffs. You should see it up already. The NBA playoff preview we just got done recording. So if you want to know our thoughts on that, go check that out. But we're going to be talking about literally everything else in sports. A lot of smaller stories to cover. But I want to talk briefly about the NHL playoffs. Last night, we saw 3 games. The Capitals, Predators, and Ducks all get wins in this one. Not much to really say here. A bit of some overtime heroics by the Capitals, taking one over the Maple Leafs. The Capitals are my pick to win it all because I don't go out on a limb at all. I pick favorites all the time. I have them beating Chicago. Unfortunately, Chicago's chances to make it sort of took a hit last night. They lose at home to Nashville, 1-0. So got to get the offense going. If you're the Hawks heading forward, you can't be getting shut out. That's typically a way to not win games. Ducks and the Flames series, I think that's pretty irrelevant. But yeah, that's about as much NHL talk as we got. Unless you wanted to say something, Rob, which I have a feeling you don't.
Nope. I would just embarrass myself. So no, thanks.
Moving on, Steelers chairman Dan Rooney has passed away at the age of 84. So great contribution. Obviously, the Rooney family known throughout the league as just a class act. His father Art founded the team back in '33, and he's worked closely with the team since '55. So Dan Rooney obviously will be missed by that entire organization, probably everyone he's ever come in contact with. So, what are your thoughts on the legacy left by Dan Rooney?
I was just sad to see it. Heart goes out to the family and the fans of that team, especially. I know that he was a really important person to them, and just as a person that's not connected to the Steelers or a fan, my closest experience is working at a bar for a Steeler Nation, and I got to see just how passionate Steeler fans are, how much they love their team. But that to me is, I'd have to, take time and do research, but just off the top of my head, probably the best run organization in sports almost. And that's not just talking wins and stuff like that, but just how they handle, 3 coaches in 40, 50 years, I love that. They stick with their they stick with their coaches. They're loyal, it seems like. I've never heard really too much controversy or bad things out that. I've only really heard respect for the Rooney family, for Dan Rooney and the Steeler Nation, Steeler, organization. So that's, to keep it brief, because I don't want to talk too much and to be disrespectful in that I don't know enough about Dan Rooney to really give an eloquent thing. I think the Rooney Rule, obviously, it's a really important rule in the NFL. I'm sure they were connected to that somehow. It's named after them. So yeah. So you know
What
that.
Rob's referring to is the unofficial rule in the NFL of interviewing a minority candidate for every head coaching spot, every front office job. At least if you're interviewing one minority candidate to keep things diverse within your organization.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's a super important rule. It's something that they've clearly had a focus on or started or whatever. So I think it's an amazing organization, and clearly that comes from the top, and that was Dan Rooney. So like I said, just a lot of respect for him, and my heart goes out. My thoughts go out to family, friends, and then Steeler Nation. I know that's a big loss for them. So
Okay. More NFL news. Apparently, the Seahawks are going to trade Marshawn Lynch to the Oakland Raiders. They still hold his rights, even though he is retired. If he were to come back, he would have to come back with the Seahawks. It looks like the Seahawks are willing to part with him, which makes all the sense in the world. It doesn't. Marshawn Lynch has stated he's pretty much only going to come back for the Raiders. I know, like behind the scenes, there's been talk of the Patriots. I never really saw that happening. I think that's sort of a punk move that we wouldn't see out of beast mode, like going to the team that beat you in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like that has some Kevin Durant stank on it that I don't think Marshawn Lynch is trying to have follow him. But I think we've talked about it pretty in depth. What he would do for that organization, that team, both on and off the field. But looks like it's official now.
yeah, that'll be a good pickup for the Raiders.
Rob, are you familiar with this whole thing going on with Eli Manning? I'm not too up on it. Do you know about it?
Yeah,
the headlines just seem weird with it.
Yeah, I don't know in depth. I haven't researched it too much. I know the basics that he somehow in some court documents that got out, or maybe they're public record and someone just read them. Just like I never know how that stuff works. I know some stuff in court isn't public record, some is. So I don't know if it got leaked or if it was public record. But yeah, he's being his name has been brought up in this fraud as far as like memorabilia fraud. I said that like a fool. And all I know is that it's the one thing I saw is that he was sending helmets and saying they were game used helmets and they weren't. That's I don't know if that was just like one of the charges or allegations, or if that's all he did or main thing. But it's certainly weird. It's a weird story. I do want to know more about it. I'm gonna read up on it and check into some blogs and Sports Center and see when they're talking about it. But yeah, that's all I really know is that it's coming out. If it's true, I think he'll get in a little bit of trouble for fraud. I don't know. I'm sure it's a slap on the wrist for an NFL superstar, but yeah, he was. Like I said, the main thing I saw is that he was giving away like helmets, which I think is allowed, for sale, but then probably upping their price or upping their value by saying they were game used and they weren't. It's weird, man. The Mannings got some like weird stuff, like just.
This whole thing sounds extremely weird to me. Like, from what you've told me of it, it doesn't sound like innocuous. It sounds pretty scummy. And
yeah,
I'm already not the hugest fan of Eli Manning. Obviously, like even Peyton has some skeletons in his closet.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a good look for that team, and I'm sorry for that family.
The Manning, yeah. Well, they already come off as like, to some people, I never really thought much about it when Peyton Manning had his like skeletons. At least his early ones, it was 97-ish, with that like scandal, and I was watching Michigan win the national championship. But the Mannings, to some people, have that like aura, like the rich family that kind of pushes people and does things and does their shady stuff, but no one cares because they got money and like run Nashville. So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
They're the Kennedys of
Yeah,
the NFL, kind of.
And like at a certain point, even if it's true or not true, that's what people are gonna think of them if these weird little things keep coming out or happening. Like, why would you do it, man? You're so rich. What are you doing? Like, what? Why would you even bother doing this to deceive people like this? And if there's more, I'd be curious what else. But even if the helmets, it just is ridiculous. Like,
some more NFL news. The list of prospects attending the. Hold on. What is that?
What? Yeah, you didn't finish a sentence, so I don't know.
I don't know. Some music just started playing out of nowhere.
Oh, it's not me.
And God.
Is it good music at least?
No. I hope that didn't come up in the recording, but
I didn't hear anything on my end.
Okay. So the list of prospects attending the NFL draft just came out, and it's going to be safety Jamal Adams from LSU, defensive lineman Jonathan Allen from Alabama, defensive back Chidobe Awuzie from Colorado. I remember seeing him back when they played Michigan. He's a pretty great shutdown corner.
Yeah.
Defensive end Derek Barnett from Tennessee. Offensive tackle Garrett Bowles from Utah. This is ridiculous. I remember back when there was like 5 guys at the draft. Like,
yeah, now there's
Corey Davis from Western Michigan, Leonard Fournette, Adoree Jackson, Kevin King, Deshaun Kaiser, Marcus Lattimore, Malik McDowell, Hassan Riddick, Ryan Ramczyk. I don't know how to say that guy's name.
I have no idea.
Tariq, Takarist McKinley.
Who?
I don't know how to say this guy's name either.
Who are these people?
Sean Ross, Solomon Thomas, Mitchell Trubisky, Deshaun Watson, and Tre'Davious White. Obviously, the notable names from that group: Trubisky, Watson, Kaiser, all at quarterback. Kaiser, I don't think he's going to be a first round pick, so that's going to be like awkward.
Say, you said Deshaun Watson too. Both of them are going to be like, I feel like a little later than maybe they want to be sitting there.
Watson could he could be in the first round. I think he's much closer. By everyone's estimation, he's a 2, maybe a 3 in terms of quarterback rankings. Everyone has Mitchell Trubisky number 1 at the QB position, but I think a lot of talk has been made about who's not attending, and that's Myles Garrett, and also notably the quarterback from Texas Tech. I'm blanking on his name right now.
I can't. Yeah, I know who you mean, but I can't.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, nice. Pat Mahomes the second. He's not attending either.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him. Myles Garrett, I didn't even notice he wasn't on that list. That's pretty weird. Is there a reason why? Because that seems...
these guys just want to like have parties with their family. A lot of talk has been made about when you do go to the draft, you're able to bring like 3 or 4 people with you, but to these guys, it's more important to have literally the entire family, like everyone who helped them, which is commendable.
Fine, yeah.
It sort of makes it sound kind of bad for all the other guys because it makes it sound like they don't care to a certain extent, but
maybe they don't.
Some other names you don't see, like the only running back on this list is Leonard Fournette. So not gonna see any Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon. Obviously, I don't even think he would be invited.
He shouldn't go. He'd probably get booed and cause such a it'd just be too much of a stir outside of what should be a fun night. Like.
But I'm just looking at some of these names, and I don't know who a lot of these guys are. It's mostly because I haven't done my draft prep research yet. But
yeah, me either. I don't know too much outside the big names.
this Takarist McKinley, the defensive end out of UCLA, like no clue who this guy is.
No idea. Didn't watch a lot of UCLA games.
No,
this year.
neither did I. As far as coaches who are going to be there, there's going to be Larry Fedora, PJ Fleck, Butch Jones, Ryan Kelly, Urban Meyer, Jim Mora, Ed Orgeron, Chris Peterson, Matt Rule, Nick Saban, David Shaw, Dabo Sweeney, and Kyle Whittingham. So
that's good.
A lot of big name coaches.
Go. Yeah.
Our boy isn't there either, Jabril Peppers.
Real.
So,
yeah, I wouldn't go if I was him. You have no idea where he's going. So
yeah, I've heard talk about late first round with him, but who knows? We could see him go higher. We could see him go second round. I think everyone's crazy if he ends up going second round. But
I do too. But we're just homers.
From one draft to another. Last night was actually the WNBA draft, and surprise, surprise, Kelsey Plum goes first overall. The guard out of Washington, National Player of the Year. She looks like the next great WNBA star. What do you make of this pick, Rob, by the San Antonio Stars? I think they're called, or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're the Stars. Yeah, it's a no-brainer pick. That's the LeBron of that draft. I know I don't know a lot about women's basketball, and there's a lot of talented players, but she was just always head and shoulders above the rest of the competition this year, and averaged crazy like 30-some points, I think, and has all the tools for a guard. And I think she's one of those players, like you said, that can be a superstar. And in the WNBA, I feel like that can be enough to make that team a champion. You don't, you get one or two really good players in WNBA, it's you're a contender. It's not like the NBA where nowadays you have to have, three pretty significant stars and a lot of good role players to even be in the competition, conversation. You get a player like her, it'll make you relevant. So it's a good pick, and I'm excited to see what she does because she was fun to watch. I didn't watch a lot, but I saw a few games, a few minutes, and she was fun. She was a good player, seemed like a good person, so congratulations to her. I don't know a lot about it besides that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll tune in, see how she plays in her rookie year, maybe once or twice. Probably only if it's like on at the bar or something like that.
I definitely, WNBA, they're on it weird. So I've watched games like when I'm craving some sports, some basketball. It's on ESPN. So I'm sure I'll see her play once or twice, or at least partly. I never watched the whole game. That's crazy, but.
So an interesting thing that didn't occur to me until this morning when I think it was brought up on SportsCenter. Markelle Fultz, also out of Washington, is the projected number one pick in the NBA draft. So we could see Washington get the number one player in both WNBA and NBA, which is never happened before.
Really?
I watched an interview with Kelsey Plum earlier today, and apparently her and Markelle are very good friends. They've talked about this. People of that talent level often have a meeting of the minds about how great they are, I guess. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but no, we talk about how terrible we are. That's our connection right there.
So, the latest mock draft by Howard Megdal has been released. It's Markelle Fultz going number one to the Celtics. It just doesn't seem fair that the Celtics are going to have the first pick in the NBA draft, and they could possibly win it all.
Yeah, I don't
God,
know,
the
man.
Nets suck. The Nets just suck.
Yeah. Well, there's the Nets just gave the Celtics a championship at some point. If the Celtics can't win a championship with all of this treasure trove they got, something's good.
They just had the third overall pick in last year's draft.
Yep.
And the Nets are probably gonna suck again, and they'll get their next pick. And somebody needs to step in and put a stop to this or something. This team's just gonna be too loaded.
It seems gonna be weird, man, because they have yet their drafts are they got to get like a superstar. This is if they get the top pick or top 2 pick, there's a good draft. I feel like there's gonna be some really top level players. Last year was Ben Simmons. 2 years last year, Ben Simmons. Yeah. And I mean, I like Jaylen Brown. I'm not sure he'll be a superstar yet, but if they get this guy from Washington, or there's a couple Kentucky or Duke players, I think they'll be superstars. The Celtics are going to be dumb like that. Or if they trade it, they could just trade it also for like a superstar. Like I don't.
Like they got an embarrassment of riches, but
yeah.
At number 2, he has the Suns taking Josh Jackson, no issue there. But at 3, he has Lonzo Ball going to the Lakers.
Don't like it.
What?
I don't like it.
Oh, I don't either. I was gonna say we're gonna disagree on this one, but no. Lonzo Ball, I think, is probably the most overhyped, overrated player out there. Like easily, I don't even think it's close.
Yeah. Well, after watching his tournament performances, he just doesn't have, I think, the elite skill set at the next level. He's like good at a lot of things, but he's not elite at anything. Maybe his passing, but that's not enough to be the number 3 pick, I think, in this draft especially. And
Magdal has De'Aaron Fox, who completely schooled Lonzo Ball, like straight up, has him going 7 to the Knicks. So if you see De'Aaron Fox fall to 7 with the Knicks, you could see Phil Jackson sort of like turn things around to save his job, because they just picked up his option for another 2 years, but the consensus is that he will be gone after that 2 years if they don't start making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you got other notable names: Jason Tatum, number 5 to the Magic. Dennis Smith Jr., number 6 to NC State. So if you're out there looking for a point guard, this is the draft for you. Also, this guy out of France, Frank. Oh God, Nitilinkina, or it starts with NT. So I don't know which one of those is silent, or if you pronounce both of them, or what. But
N before T is always silent unless it's followed by E.
I don't know.
That's not a real rule. I'm just kidding.
Frank the Frenchie is what I'm going to start calling him. They got him going 9 to the Mavericks. In fact, since he's French, he's probably pronounced Franc. You probably don't pronounce the final K. Like, even though in French you don't pronounce final consonants. This is probably the biggest slide I see. Malik Monk to the Hornets at 11. I think if you get Malik Monk at 11, if you're the Hornets, that is a steal. This guy can put up points in the bunches.
It's the problem when you play for, teams like Kentucky, where there's so many people, you get like overshadowed a little bit if you aren't the best of the bunch of the top 2. Like that's crazy to me. He was such a.
The NBA has to be smarter about this. This is how so many people missed out on Devin Booker.
Well, it's not obviously the player's fault, but that's crazy because you take this French player who, I don't know, maybe there's good tape on him, but like over him. I mean, in the biggest game of the college basketball regular season, Malik Monk put up 40-some points against UCLA, or Kansas. One of those games, he went off and they won the game.
So, other notables, that white guy from UCLA going 16.
That slow dumb white guy.
Yeah, TJ Leaf.
with you, LeVar Ball. No foot speed at all on that guy.
Sindarius Thornwell, 18 to the Pacers. I think that would be a great pickup for a team that's already in the playoffs. Maybe you end up moving Paul George this offseason and picking up even more picks, but the Nets, who pick at 22, could get a steal if Magdal's to be believed. He has them taking Harry Giles who, if he could stay healthy, could end up being ridiculous. He was a guy a lot of people were projecting to be the number 1 overall pick going into this past season. However, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Couldn't stay healthy back in high school or college. So
Right.
And just to wrap things up, Isaiah Hartenstein out of Germany. I've actually watched tape on this guy. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I actually do some research for this show sometimes. Where
I'm just curious.
He's a power forward out of Germany. Interesting thing about him is his mom's actually American, so he won't have much trouble like coming over and adjusting to the culture and things of that nature. Because I know that's always a struggle for a lot of guys. Like, you're trying to adjust to not only the different game of the NBA, but also things off the court. This guy won't have any problems with that. Like I said, his mother's American, his dad's German.
Nice.
Frank Mason III out of Kansas, he has going 25 to the Raptors. So if they end up losing Kyle Lowry, I don't think Frank Mason will step in and be that for them, but could be a solid piece behind my boy Norman Powell.
You love Norman Powell. I don't get it, but I
think he's solid. I don't think he's a superstar in the making, but
not yet. He'll get there. 10 years when he gets off behind DeMar DeRozan, he can be a superstar.
But I think that's about it. One last thing. You hear about this female kicker? They got a scholarship to Adams. A little bit on it. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Good for her. I don't know. I literally saw a picture of her, and it said, girl or high school girl makes history or whatever. So I thought that was cool. Something I would like to look into more and just see. But congratulations to her.
You think we could ever see a woman play football outside of just being a kicker or punter, like at the collegiate level?
I really do. I don't want to sound like sexist or anything. I think it has to be a smaller school. The Alabamas of the world where it's just like, it's almost just it's just part of the NFL at this point. It's an industry. It might be hard, but I was a football equipment manager for Eastern Michigan. Obviously, people who don't know them, they're like the worst football school. This year they were okay, but they're usually like
they made the Bahamas Bowl.
Yeah. This year, like I said, this year, and you know what? Maybe they're not a good reference anymore. But the years I was there, I'm sure there could have been some girls that could have been better running backs, wide receivers. I mean, there was people out there that I felt like if I had worked out for only like 2 months, I could have been on that team. And I'm not trying to say I'm good at all. I'm just saying that's if you were in shape, little muscle, and could run and catch, you could have made that roster. Maybe not getting a scholarship to do it for free, but you could walk on and they would be like, sweet, finally. So I mean, I think so. I mean, I am not one of those people that thinks girls can't play sports with boys. I've been schooled at basketball and many a time. So
yeah, I don't think you'll ever see a offense or defensive lineman or even a linebacker.
No, I don't think that.
As a woman, but I think you could probably get a woman who could go out there, play wide out or corner or something like that.
I don't.
They would have to be extremely big, like for a woman, because I think that's ultimately what holds things back. Is like the average woman just doesn't get that large.
Yeah, well, that's why I said maybe a small school where you can have like a 5'9" or 10, receiver, and they slot receiver, whatever. Yeah, why not? But I don't think
and just having Alabama, that'd be just having that speed at that size too is extremely difficult. But one last thing before we get out of here, the Lions' new uniforms. Have you seen these?
I literally pulled them up. I was gonna Google the draft picks you were talking about being there, so I just had the same list, and then I saw the uniforms, and I was like, I bet he's gonna bring this up. So I clicked into him, and I searched around a little bit.
Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them. At first glance, sort of the color rushes I like. I was wondering what they would do with color rush because I feel like having just all blue was all Honolulu blue was sort of a cop out.
yeah,
Going with the silver, I like it. I'm not sure if the design is winning me over though. But I like the idea of it at the very least. I like what they did with the
yeah.
throwback uniform.
I love the throwbacks; they're awesome.
I normally don't like the Lions throwbacks, but I think these are really well done.
They look awesome.
The away, I'm sort of feeling the blue pants on the away.
The blue with the white.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
like it. But what ultimately is upsetting me is the home jerseys. The regular home jerseys, I don't really like them. I don't like the three stripes on the pants or the that I'm not feeling. I don't like that the numbers are silver. I feel like they don't pop enough off of the blue. I liked the old white. And I really liked the Lions home jerseys, the old ones.
Yeah,
I'm looking at a side by side comparison to the new and the old, and the numbers sort of sink in to the jersey. Sort of. Are you seeing that too?
yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I don't like the silver. I don't really honestly even like the Lions thing on the sleeve. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the sleeves either.
I mean, like it's not bad, but like I just don't like it. It looks a little like XFL-ish or something. Like you, I always like simple jerseys. Being, my favorite jerseys in the world are Michigan Wolverine, and I love two colors, the number. I don't need like these extra stripes on the pants bug me too.
Yeah.
Don't like the stripes on the sleeves. I don't like the color of the number either. Like it's. Yeah, the white for some reason the away like the white, it looks a lot simpler, the white, and the pants, the stripe blends in more on the blue pants. I think is why I don't notice it as much on the away like uniform. So I don't know.
What do
They're
you think
okay.
of the
They're
new
not
helmets?
I don't mind them. I don't know. The helmets didn't bug me too much. I kind of like, again, a simpler design, but
Again,
they're fine.
the triple stripe
Yeah,
sort of
it
getting
kind of
to me,
bugs me.
but again, I'm a huge fan of the blue pants on the aways. I think those look good. I never thought the silver pants with the white jerseys like sort of. I never liked it as a combination, but this I can get behind. The
I don't
home
know. Like,
jerseys I'm just not a fan of. And the color rush uniforms I like more in theory than in practice. Like I don't. I think it's poor execution of a great idea.
yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with these conversations. I hate the uniform changing. Like, find something that works and just keep it. Don't just like get something classical and don't change your jersey.
I've always wanted them to just bring back those black and blues, man.
I like the black and blues. Yeah, like, and they should have stuck with
It's
that.
sort of a
And
nod to the old black and blue division and all that. Like,
yeah, I thought those were cool. I just don't like the changing. Changing so much. And now I feel like it's gonna become a thing more and more because people love jerseys, love the different jerseys, the Oregon and all the Oregon.
yeah.
Sorry, and all that. Like, and I hate that. Like, give me two nice uniforms, and then maybe do like a fun throwback or something different here and there. But don't have like 8 different jerseys that you want to pick from, and don't change it every year, every other year.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man. Like,
But yeah. That's gonna about do it. Also, at this event where they unveiled the new Lions jerseys, the president of the Lions also announced that the NFL schedule will be released on Thursday of next week. I always hate that the NFL is sort of pumping up their scheduled release day is like a thing. That's not a thing, guys. Like, that's not an event on the calendar that I wait for. But
I certainly don't give a crap. I don't know.
Exactly.
To be perfectly blunt with you, like, I'm sure we'll have months to figure out who's playing who when, before the season starts. So,
but that'll about wrap it up. It's been a long day of recording for us. I think
fun though.
Total, we've been going about 3 hours back and forth, but it has been fun. I was glad I could get you on for this today, Rob. Looking forward to some NBA playoffs. Thanks to everyone who's listened to the audio podcast. Thanks to everyone watching the live stream on YouTube or watching the live stream archived after the fact. You got anything else to say before we head out, Rob?
To shout out to the people watching that Snitcher vibe, the Snitcher Show channel. Snitch.
Listening on Stitcher Radio.
That's right. That's the one I want to nail. The Stitcher listeners. No, I got nothing. I always just joke that I have no idea what you're talking about when you list these places. I'm so out of the loop at this point. All
right. And with that, we'll see you next week.
This has been another episode of Direct Sports Daily. Thanks for listening, and to keep up with the show, follow us on Twitter at the DSD Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio, or visit our website, www.directsportsdaily.com.
I meant to